Campfire screams. 5 friends decided to spend the weekend in the forest. They wanted fun, freedom, and stories to tell later. The group was made of Marcos, Jack, Katie, Fiona, and Clarice. They carried tents, drinks, food, and a strong desire for adventure. The trip began with laughter as they walked deeper into the woods. They sang, joked, and filmed small videos with their phones. The forest grew denser with each step. The sunlight filtered weakly through the trees, and the path narrowed. Clarice complained about the weight of her backpack. Marcos teased her, saying she packed her whole room. Katie tried to keep peace, reminding them it was just the first hour. Jack, already holding a beer, cheered and stumbled over roots. Fiona walked quietly, but her eyes were always scanning the woods. She felt as if the trees were watching, bending slightly with each breath. After hours of walking, they found a clearing near a small stream. It seemed perfect. Water close by, space for tents, and a circle for the fire. They set up camp with enthusiasm, though not much skill. The tents leaned awkwardly, and Jack laughed until his stomach hurt. The afternoon passed with games and improvised cooking. They grilled sausages, shared chips, and told stories of school days. The sky darkened slowly, painted orange and purple. The forest seemed to change, the wind colder, the sounds sharper. When night arrived, they lit the campfire. Its crackle filled the silence, giving warmth and comfort. They sat around it, sipping drinks, eyes glowing with firelight. Jack insisted they tell horror stories, laughing too loud. Fiona refused at first, saying the forest was creepy enough. But Marcos encouraged her, and soon all were competing for the scariest tale. The flames danced, shadows stretching and twisting behind them. The woods echoed with their voices, sometimes louder than they intended. Then it came. The scream. A sharp, piercing cry that cut through the night like a blade. They froze, the words dying on their lips. The sound echoed, bouncing between trees, then faded into silence. Katie grabbed Fiona's arm, trembling. Jack hiccuped and said it must be an owl. Marcos frowned, shining his lantern into the dark. "Animals don't scream like that," he whispered. But after long seconds of silence, they convinced themselves to stay calm. The fire was strong, the drinks warm, the stories enough to distract. They kept talking, though laughter came less easily. Every rustle made them glance over shoulders, searching shadows. Jack grew restless and wandered away to relieve himself. He stumbled into the woods, muttering and laughing alone. Minutes passed. 10 minutes? 15? No sound of his return. Marcos stood uneasy. "I'll check on him." He grabbed the lantern and stepped into the dark. "Jack, where are you?" he shouted. His voice echoed, but no answer came. The 3 girls sat in tense silence. The fire popped, sparks flying upward but offered no comfort. Then another scream ripped through the forest, louder, closer, and filled with agony. The girls screamed too, holding on to each other. Tears streamed as they begged Marcos to come back. But an hour passed, and neither boy returned. The fire died, leaving them only a single lantern. Clarice whispered that they needed more wood. She and Fiona went together, leaving Katie by the fire. The woods felt alive, every step heavy with dread. They gathered branches quickly, hands shaking. When they returned, Katie was gone. Her place by the fire was empty, silent, abandoned. Clarice dropped the wood, her knees buckling. Fiona screamed her friend's name until her throat burned. They tried to light the fire again, but the lighter was gone. The darkness pressed closer, suffocating them. Another scream split the night, long and terrifying. Fiona bolted, vanishing into the trees, leaving Clarice alone. Clarice clutched the lantern, her body trembling. She waited, sobbing, listening for any sign of life. But hours passed in suffocating silence. No screams, no voices, only the whisper of wind. She cried until her body ached, rocking herself near the dead fire. Fear devoured her more than hunger or cold. Finally, she stood, gripping the lantern with both hands. She followed a faint memory of a forest house nearby. Each step was heavy, the silence unbearable. Her tears blurred her sight, and the woods seemed endless. Behind her, something shifted in the shadows. She dared not turn, heart pounding like a drum. The lantern flickered, shadows stretching across the trees. Her breath came fast, uneven, almost sobs. She whispered her friends' names, voice trembling. Only the wind replied, hissing through branches. Then, far behind, a scream rose again, longer, sharper, and closer than before. She stumbled, nearly dropping the lantern, but she forced her body forward, step after step. At last, the outline of an old house appeared. Its roof sagged, windows dark, door slightly open. Clarice hesitated, fear twisting her stomach. But she had no other choice. She pushed the door, which creaked loudly. Inside was darkness, thick and suffocating. The lantern's glow revealed dusty walls and broken furniture. The air smelled of mold, as if the place had been abandoned for decades. She stepped further, each board groaning under her weight. Her hands shook so badly the light jumped wildly across the room. Behind her, the door slammed shut with a violent crash. She screamed, spinning, but saw only darkness. Then, from the upstairs came footsteps, slow, deliberate. Someone, or something, was moving above her. Her breath caught in her throat as the lantern flickered. The sound grew closer, each step heavier than the last. Clarice whispered, begging the shadows for mercy. But the only reply was silence, thick and endless. And then, the scream began again, louder than ever. It filled the house, shaking the walls, rattling her bones. The lantern shattered on the floor, plunging her into darkness. And in that darkness, something moved, reaching closer.